Shalom. Call Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai by Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone that rule and teach well, taught us this truth, this 100% truth. To the occupants of four corners teaching this truth, risking their lives each and every week on the highways and the byways. And to the brothers and sisters tuning in for edification, come with another lesson. Hope this be edifying. And this is entitled, Vexed in a World with Nothing But Wickedness. Yeah, because this place, man, will vex you, every day, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you wake up in the morning, you know what I'm saying? One of the things that really vex you is that you have to break your sleep, you know what I'm saying? To wake up and go slave, you know what I'm saying, for Esau, something that you're not even gonna get nowhere with, you know what I'm saying, because the pay ain't even enough where you can get by, where you can get somewhere, you know what I'm saying? You don't make enough money to be able to even do the things you want to do. And that's sad. And that definitely is something that weighs on you and it'll vex you, you know what I'm saying? But the true riches is these scriptures, so we don't care about the things that's in this world, you know what I'm saying? Then you have to, deal with these people, you know what I'm saying? Every day, especially, driving to the plantation, you know what I'm saying? Slaving all day, you know what I'm saying? You have to wonder, is you gonna have a good day or you gonna have a bad day? You know what I'm saying? Because you are already vexed by hearing the conversations that these people have at work. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Then you come home, to your woman, and she noticed that, she probably thinking that you're gonna be in a happy, jolly spirit, but she know that spirit is not there. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a happy spirit. Then that vexes her too. You know what I'm saying? Because now, you got to deal with the commotion, at home. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much, on an overall basis, you know what I'm saying, you have to deal with nothing but bull crapping, you know what I'm saying, in this place, you know what I'm saying? Nothing. And all it does is just weighs on you and it vexes you, you know what I'm saying? And most of the time, the woman, they're not going to understand, you know what I'm saying? Because what there is, their mind is still wrapped up in this world, you know what I'm saying? They just care about the things that's in this world that pleases them, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what Esau, Edom pushed out there, you know what I'm saying? To set the woman higher than the man, you know what I'm saying? But when you look at the things here in this world that vex you, you gotta understand there's different levels, There's gonna be different levels of catching hell, you know what I'm saying? And people think, you know what I'm saying, catching hell is a bad thing, but you gotta understand it's not a bad thing. What it does is builds character, you know what I'm saying? Because now you realize, of all the things that you go through, it's a building factor, you know what I'm saying, to build your faith up, to make you become stronger, So when you in helping need of helping, another Akim, another brother, you there, you know what I'm saying, to do so, So I want to start with 1 Peter chapter 5, starting at verse 6. Humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of the Most High. Yeah. And that's how it is. When you come in this truth, you definitely got to humble yourself, you know what I'm saying? You basically got to start all over again, you know, and come in a humble state of mind, you know what I'm saying? That he may exalt you in due time. Yeah, because this here is a process, you know what I'm saying? It's a marathon. It's not a 100-yard dash, you know what I'm saying? Cast all your cares upon him, for he cared for you. Verse 8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walk about seeking whom he may devour. Yeah, because this is, pretty much something you have to wake up every day. You know what I'm saying? You have to be ready to take on that, you have to be ready, you know what I'm saying? Because the devil, you know what I'm saying, he looking to, you know what I'm saying, like the scriptures say, as a roaring lion, walk about seeking whom he may devour. Yeah, because he looking to seek what he seek, that he may devour, you know what I'm saying? And one of the things, the most important thing you have to do, man, when you first wake up, you know what I'm saying, you got to pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you know what I'm saying? Because you're going to be dealing with certain situations, throughout the day, that you're going to need to be able to be protected, you have to, pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, surround them angels around you, you know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be all kind of, demons, and those demons, they know you, you know what I'm saying? They know, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of these things you have to deal with is a test, you know what I'm saying, from the Most High. He's seeing if you can deal with the things that might make you feel uncomfortable. So you being in an uncomfortable position, and what that does, you know what I'm saying, that only builds your faith up, you know what I'm saying? Especially, in Babylon the Great, you know what I'm saying, aka America, you know what I'm saying? There's things that you're gonna have to deal with, on a day-to-day basis. But there's nothing wrong with that, That's a good thing. Because that only builds your character and shows that you, you know what I'm saying, dealing with certain things where you can be able to help another brother, you know what I'm saying? Verse 9, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. Yeah. And we are going to catch hell. Each brother is going to deal with different afflictions, you know what I'm saying? And the Most High, what he doing, he's sending those afflictions just to, work on that inner man, you know what I'm saying, to build up that faith. And that comes over time, you know what I'm saying, in certain situations that you have to deal with, in this world, which vex you, you know what I'm saying, every day. The things in this world will upset you more than the things that the people that are in the world, you know what I'm saying, because you're going to get tired of dealing with certain stuff, you know what I'm saying. And basically, we just tired of this place, man. If you look at it, because this place is nothing but, nothing but garbage, bullcrap, you know what I'm saying. There's nothing here that's pleasing, you know what I'm saying, Of course, the brotherhood, Yahweh Shem Yahushua first, the brotherhood, and then, your family, if you have a wife or kids, But as far as anything else that Esau put out here out here, it's bull crap, you know what I'm saying? Let's go to Luke chapter 22, verse 31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as a wheat. Verse 32, but I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. Yeah. And why did Yahushua say this to Peter, That's because he was the head, in this walk, pretty much, in GMS camp, you have the apostles, you have the bishops, you have the elders, and then you have elders in each camp, and then you have the brothers on down. You know what I'm saying? And when you examine this scenario here, something that should stick out here, and who you think most of the demons come at first? You know what I'm saying? The apostles. You know what I'm saying? Because in this incident here, Peter was the head. You know what I'm saying? So the apostles, they're gonna deal with a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Way more than just someone at the very end, down at the very bottom of the camp, So that's why we have to, be mindful, and be considerate what each brother might be dealing with, on a daily basis. Because, and that's out of true respect, and thinking about the things, and then you have to think about the things that you could be a helping hand, in certain situations and times that a brother might be dealing with or going through, and that's from the top to the bottom, you might need the help one day, because of the certain things that you might have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So there's different levels to this affliction, and you might deal with that. You're going to deal with that through this walk, And who much more that deals with it the most? And the head apostles, and the bishops and the elders of each camp, So it's important, to be mindful, because this place will vex you so much, man. It'll wear you out, man. It'll wear you out. And what's that? Daniel 7:25. I'm gonna get that. Wear out the saints. Because the saints is the Israelites. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Yeah, because let's look up that word wear out too. Yeah, because that's the things, that you deal with on a day-to-day basis in this place. All this place is gonna do is vex you, It's gonna the things is gonna get under your skin, that people in this world it's not gonna hurt, but it's gonna hurt you because you know the truth. You know what I'm saying? You know what this world is about. It's about nothing. Wear out, be used until no longer in good condition or working order. Woo. Exhaust someone. Yeah, see? So this place, it would exhaust. They don't give you no break here. You know what I'm saying? Esau don't give you no break. He just steady pound you and pound you, you know what I'm saying? The wear and tear on your body, your back ache, your knees hurt, you know what I'm saying? But does he care? No. Then you have to deal with so much other stuff, man. You got to deal with, constantly paying these bills each and every day, each and every month. So it's just, just constantly things that just vex you, you know what I'm saying? Exhaust someone, you're just being exhausted, tired, of dealing with, crap. What it says fatigue. So, you fatigue all the time. You're tired, you wore out. You need like a break, a rest, you know what I'm saying? Let me read that from the top again. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Yeah, because that's what Esau does, man. His main agenda, he don't never give nothing a rest. He doesn't even get a land a rest. He's supposed to get a land, after 7 years, he's supposed to get a land, rest. You know what I'm saying? But Esau he don't get nobody no rest, man. He just keeps on, with his everyday thing, and that's how he operates, He don't get none rest. 24 hours, you know what I'm saying? When they had Walmart open 24 hours, they had these stores open 24 hours. They don't get just run you till you don't, till you pass out, And this is all the things we have to deal with in this place, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say there's levels, to this thing. You know what I'm saying? And the brothers that's higher up in the camp, they're dealing with a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Imagine the things that they have to deal with that's on their shoulders. So, and the same thing with our forefathers. They went through a lot. You know what I'm saying? They went through hell, Yeah. So we have to, be thankful, and appreciative, that we know about this truth. Let me just go to 2 Samuel chapter 17, verse 8. Because that's what gets you through, the difficult times, especially when you're vexed about certain things, that you're dealing with in this world right now. 2 Samuel chapter 17, verse 8. For it said, who shall thou know it, thy father and his men, that they be mighty men, and they be chaffed in their minds, as a bear robbed of her whelps in the field, and thy father is a man of war, and will not lodge with the people. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be chaffed in the mind, you know what I'm saying? Let's look up that word chaff in the blue letter. Yeah, because, or let me look it up with the definitions, because this place, you're not gonna get no rest. You're gonna keep on dealing with things on a day-to-day basis. That what can you do? All you can do is keep pushing and keeping your head up. Of something restricted or too tight, make a part of the body sore by rubbing against it. Restore warm sensation. Rub a part of the body. So, you're gonna deal with things that, like I said, it's gonna be restricted. It's gonna be tight. All of the difficult situations. You're gonna feel that bitterness. You know what I'm saying, of this place. That's gonna, that you're gonna deal with on an everyday basis. And let me go to, Ecclesiastes is Sirach chapter 21 verse 12, based on that bitterness. You know what I'm saying. For he that is not wise will not be taught, but there is wisdom which multiply bitterness. Yeah, because you got to understand, as a believer, you know what I'm saying, their walk is not going to be the same, because the walk that the Akim have to do, because they have to edify the church, they have to feed the sheep. Their walk is going to be different, you know what I'm saying. So the people that are believers, they're not going to be able to deal with, they're not dealing with the same things that someone in the camp is dealing with, So just imagine if you had to run a camp, then you have your household to manage, then on top of that, a lot of other responsibilities, and then you have work. So you're going to be vexed with a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying, on the everyday situation. So, Man, can you imagine that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even in the camp yet. I'm at the very bottom, and I have nothing but respect for the brothers because I know they catching hell because just the little stuff, you know, that you see now, you know what I'm saying, being in this truth, it just weighs on you, it vexes you, you know what I'm saying? And you realize that, hey, you know what I'm saying, you know it's not gonna get any better. It's gonna be, you know, more things gonna come at you, you know what I'm saying? So that's why you have to, you know, stay prayed up, fast, and put Yahweh Shem Shai first, you know what I'm saying? You know, because that's just the way things you know operate, you know, on a scale, you know, of you know, 1 to 10, you know what I'm saying, 110%, you know, you're gonna deal with a lot of stuff, you know. Let me get a couple more scriptures and then we'll close out. Let's go to the 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and start at verse 23. Are they minister of the of Yahushua Mashiach? I am more in labors, more abundant in stripes, above measure in prisons, more frequent in deaths of the verse 24 of the Jews 5 times receive I 40 stripes. Thrice was I beaten with rods, once was I stoned, thrice I suffered shipwreck, a night and a day I have been in deep. Verse 26, in journeys often in perils of waters, in perils of robbers, in perils by my mind, own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren. Verse 27, in weariness and painfulness, in watching often in hunger and thirst, and fasting often in cold and nakedness. Woo! So this is all hell that he had to go through. You know, he went through nothing but hell. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna go through the same thing here. You know, we're gonna deal with a lot of things that might vex you because this place is vexing. This place is nothing but, you know, nothing but, you know, drama. You know what I'm saying? And hell, you know. But that's only to build our faith up, you know what I'm saying? Verse 28, beside those things that are without that, which come up on me daily, the care of all the churches, yeah. So, just being, like I said, just being a believer, you're not going to have to deal with these levels that I can have to go through on an everyday basis. You know what I'm saying? The persecution, you know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, from, you know, and that's just how it is, you know what I'm saying? So you can just imagine, you know, what some of the brothers are going through, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, this world will vex you on all sides, you know, and it will make you frustrated and make you mad as well, you know what I'm saying? So, and why? Why is we're vexed so much, you know what I'm saying, in this place? And I could tell you the reason why is we are vexed because look who's in charge, you know what I'm saying? Look who's running this world, you know, Esau, Edom, you know what I'm saying? Job 9 and 24. The hand is given to the hand of the wicked. I'm sorry, Slocky. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then let's go to, because we're constantly in mourning, you know what I'm saying? Proverbs 29 and 2, yeah. And I'm going to end on this, you know? Proverbs 29 and 2. And when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Yeah. So, You know, you got to look at it. When the righteous is in authority, you know, things are going to flourish. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have clean air. The food is going to be, you know, on point. You know, women going to be back in order. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be peace on earth. You know what I'm saying? When our kingdom come, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be peace on earth, you know? Starting with Yahweh Shemi outside, Yahweh Shah, our king, you know, big brother, you know? And like I say, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, yeah. And you got to look at it, you know. Look who's running it. It's because this place is none but wicked. And you could tell by the people, you know what I'm saying? They all bugged out, you know what I'm saying? Family structure is messed up, you know what I'm saying? Constantly you have to pay bills, you know, every month, subject to payments, you know what I'm saying? Living paycheck to paycheck, you know? And it's nothing that's good about this place. So it will just constantly just keep on vexing, you know? So that's why, you know, you have to wake up, you know? You have to wake up and come back to Yahweh Shemi outside. And every time when you wake up in this kingdom, you know what I'm saying, in this wicked kingdom, it's going to vex you, you know what I'm saying? You know, no matter what situation comes at you, you know what I'm saying? No matter what. So, like I say, the title of this was, you know, Vexed in a World with Nothing But Wickedness. And that's how we look at it. That's how, you know, pretty sure the other Akims look at it, you know. number being vexed in this world. So I hope that was edifying. This is your brother Dawada. Come with another lesson. I want to give all praises, Yahweh Shemi Al Shai. Double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone that ruled well and teach well, that taught us this 100% truth. To the Akims on the four corners, risking our lives each and every week, on the highways and the byways, pushing this truth. And to the brothers and sisters tuning in for edification. Shalom.